let's say hello to our Director of Recruiting, Steve Wiltfong. Steve, let's start with Nyckoles Habor. Why not? What's the latest on his recruitment as he heads to Eugene this weekend?
Yeah, the five-star athlete will take his first recruiting visit to Oregon. But he's been there around the track meet 2 years ago. I'm getting an echo right now. But Nyckoles Habor taking an official visit to Oregon this weekend, and I think this is a program that has a lot of runway still in this process. Dan Lanning was in a Monday ago. This past Monday, the head track coach comes in, so they're hitting him from all directions. He's going to take his official visit where his family will learn more about the school and the program. But I think with Oregon's track record, with what they've been able to do with guys that have played football and also run in the Olympics, they've had a 4x1 that's been all football players before on the Oregon track team. So that relationship that the football program and the track team have together and them working together on this recruitment down the stretch, I think Oregon has really moved the needle. Now, when he took his official visit to Maryland, he hung out with Mike Loxley, hung out with the school president, hung out with the school AD, hung out with one of the top orthopedic surgeons in the state. I think Oregon's going to try and match that. I think he'll get a lot of time with Phil Knight. I think he'll get a lot of time at the medical facility that Phil Knight and his wife built that cost $1 billion. I think that he'll get some time with their sports media department there. And so Oregon, I think, has a chance to really move the needle this weekend with what they can offer him as a guy who wants to run in the Paris Olympics and a guy that wants to be an NFL football player and then a guy that wants to potentially be a doctor or a sports broadcaster.
Steve, Oregon is also after Roderick Pleasant, and he's also an Olympic hopeful. What's the latest with his recruitment as it pertains to Oregon?
Yeah, a lot of similarities there because I think the Oregon track program, I'm told, is all in on Roderick Pleasant. I think that's a guy that they view could be maybe the fastest guy in the world one day. And so that's a guy that, both the football staff and track staff covet at Oregon. Now, obviously, I read your guys' reports at the Polynesian Bowl, Blair, and I know USC is very much in the mix for Roderick Pleasant. I think it's one or the other here for him down the stretch. He's a priority recruit for both.
All right. A lot of twists and turns in Jaden Rashada's recruitment. Since he was granted his release from Florida a couple weeks ago, he's visited Arizona State, TCU. So what's next as his recruitment continues, Steve?
Yeah, well, he's expected to be back at TCU this weekend, first time at TCU this weekend, coming off a visit to Arizona State last weekend. Now, that was a visit to Arizona State. His brother lives in the Tempe area, so he got a chance to hang out with him, tour the campus, and then sit down with the coaching staff that he's very familiar with. Kenny Dillingham recruited him for a long time, first at Florida State, then at Oregon. So that was Rashada knows what he's getting with Kenny Dillingham, and so does his family. They talked about the offense that they produced at Oregon, talked about Bo Nix's development under Kenny Dillingham at Oregon, and now it's an opportunity for him to go see TCU and see how he fits in with Sonny Dykes. He has a past relationship with Kendall Briles, but I'm told this is a big visit to get him around Sonny Dykes and see how those two mesh together. TCU obviously had a high-powered offense. Max Duggan was a Heisman finalist, and TCU made the college football national championship game. So they have a lot to sell. Washington, Cal, some of the other contenders in there for Jaden Rashada, but Arizona State and TCU obviously in good position.
All right. Lastly, Duce Robinson is the other uncommitted five-star. The expectation is that his decision will also come down to next Wednesday. So what are you hearing in the final days of his recruitment?
Well, nobody knows more about Duce Robinson than Blair, but on my end here, I still think George is in really good position with Duce Robinson because of the way that they developed the tight end position. This is a young man that, like Nyckoles Habor, has lofty goals in multiple sports. He's a guy that wants to play baseball at the highest level, and he wants to play football at the highest level. And I think he's making decisions purely based on who can develop him and get him to that point. And George's track record at tight end right now, with the way they've been able to develop Bowers and Darnell Washington and find ways to get them on the field at the same time and both can really succeed, is real enticing to him. Not to mention he just has a great relationship with Todd Hartley, Kirby Smart, and that coaching staff. But USC still a factor down the stretch, as Blair has reported. Texas is a program that I'm still not sleeping on here late with Duce Robinson as Sarkisian, or as the Texas staff, Coach Sark went in December, but Jeff Banks has one more in-home to utilize. So Texas still has a swing in their belt as well here down the stretch with Duce.
I said lastly,
Steve, there had been a lot of question marks about whether or not Steve would, or whether or not Duce Robinson would make it out on the road this coming weekend, the final visit weekend, and it sounds like he will not be going to any other places. That would leave one official visit left on the table. It was maybe Oregon. It doesn't sound like he will be in Eugene. And I spoke to a source close to the recruitment who told me he would be shocked if it wasn't Georgia for Duce Robinson. I think that's how much momentum the Bulldogs have gotten with the number 1 tight end in the class. And if it wasn't Georgia, someone said that the only thing that could pull him away from Athens is a professional baseball career full time. So it sounds like Georgia has really kind of set the tone here. I would not be shocked though if it ends up being USC, if it ends up being Texas, because this has been a recruitment that's been all over the map. Another source told me that this has been just one of the crazier ones that they've monitored just because there's so many different factors involved.
I was cutting in there because I apparently lied to my friend Steve. I said that was our last question, but I got one more for you. Just happening now, Kavion Thunderbird officially committing to Arizona State. What are your thoughts on him as a prospect?
Well, he's a guy that's got a lot of upside and traits there, and it's a big pickup right now for Arizona State here as they try and get some more momentum here. But he's 6'1", 250 pounds, athletic second-level defender from Chicago, Kenwood there, that had a really good offer list there, choosing Arizona State over Colorado, Oregon, Purdue, and Tennessee. But a very productive football player, over 100 tackles as a senior, forced 2 fumbles, recovered 3 more. Look, Arizona State, they're a program that's trying to build themselves back up and come to the Windy City and land a lunch pail type second-level defender in Kavion Thunderbird to help that defense move forward.
Steve, thank you so much for all of that. You can check out some new episodes of the Wiltfong Whip Around on the 24/7 Sports YouTube page every Monday and Friday. And we are officially less than 1 week out from signing day. A lot of the guests that you saw in today's show will be in studio on Wednesday for a signing day coverage all day long, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Then at 5 o'clock, we have a very special edition of this show, the College Football Recruiting Show.